in with just some of the parts from the interview that Nadeska and Ebro did with Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar is not known for giving interviews, so I know that this was just for real, like a full circle moment, especially for Nadeska. She's really a huge Kendrick fan. So I was kind of fanning out for her that she got the opportunity to interview Kendrick. So there's some parts here that I think are really dope. My aunt, I'll go ahead and I'll share some of the audio from the interview, and then I'll give you my overall opinion of the interview. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. All right, let me just get everything set up. Hope you guys are having a great day today. Had it up and then it just wants to play.
Just letting the music speak for yourself, which is something I really respect. But the spotlight has been shining so brightly on you for the past few months. I've just been wondering how you've been processing behind the scenes, how you've been feeling about everything happening, all the success.
It's just really just I want to look at it like it's just a continuum of who I am. Really, I've always stayed to myself. I've always been in my own bubble, whether it's with the fam or whether it's training. How I process it all is just I continue to do what I was doing 10 years ago, and that's like be better in myself, better in the craft, and not look at it as bright lights. And it may sound cliche, but it always worked for me, even when I was young. Playing sports or being in the forefront of presentations and stuff like that. It was like I gotta look at myself in the mirror rather than looking at it as the crowd or fame and attention.
So now,
And I guess I'll just stop in between sections. I really did like that. And it just to me just shows Kendrick's commitment um, to his craft. And that's just something that I think that a lot of people could really learn from. Um, I think, one of the things that he said during the interview was that he wasn't even thinking about no Super Bowl. He was back, at home on the block, and he just trying to, just going day by day and really pressing hard with his music and his pen. So I think that's pretty dope. And so Nadeska asked him just a little bit about, she was really like taken back. I think one of her favorite uh songs on the GNX album was Reincarnated, which is crazy. Man in the Garden goes crazy. Hey Now goes crazy. Of course, TV Off goes crazy. Whacked Out Mural is ridiculous. Squabble Up is like, bring it. So, I mean, this album was really dope. And just seeing his work, like, I just listened the other night to the song that he had with Nipsey Hussle. And I was just like, he's always just been consistently good, even when you were like, was this one better than the last one? So Nadeska kind of asked him just a little bit about, his how he comes up with the stuff that he comes up with.
and you've always moved with integrity. So, in a lot of ways, I feel like we thought we knew exactly who you were as an artist in a positive way. And then last year, it felt like you unlocked a whole new dimension for us. But that person, like you said, was always in there. But I'm wondering, do you still surprise yourself sometimes? Did you surprise yourself last year, or was it just us, the fans, with our jaws on the floor, just stunned?
That's a good question. Surprise myself. Nah, I don't think I surprised myself because this for me and for my partners that's been around me since 2005, 2006, like my brothers, they know my personality. They know my capabilities, even when it wasn't presented to the public at first, right? So this is just like a revolving door of what I've been doing in Carson Studios, at the Homie Garage, or my brothers at TDE, or just anybody around the city of Compton in LA. It's just magnified to the level where I've progressed it and did enough hours to know, okay, I know where to place it now. I know how to make it connect with people.
It feels like each album too, getting to this point was like it was an album for the culture and it was an album for the critics.
Okay, so I really, really liked the way that Kendrick explains really his creative process. Um, and I feel like that's really what is missing in hip hop music. And look, I grew up in an era where, I mean, music was so, it was like gumbo for real. Like people, artists really stayed in their bag. Artists were creative, whether it was, Kumo D, Kwame. Um, I mean, hip hop was just so, it was so, just so different because you were able to see the creativity in artists, the creativity in rappers, and it was just good. You know what I'm saying? Like people really did want to have like these um, social statements. KRS-One definitely, you know what I'm saying, one of those type of artists, and so
And it was
I
out for the
think it's really important that we kind of get back to that. I also feel like too that it's kind of like as well, like, the thing about music is that it can really move a culture, and I feel like music right now is not moving anybody, right? I don't feel like it's really doing anything but making people kind of, not be conscious about their actions, about what they say, about the way that they act towards each other. It's just about, showing the most of your body, having the most chicks around you, wearing the most jewelry, popping your ish about the house and the car that you live in. And then after that, what's left, right? And so I do think it's really important that artists similar to Kendrick, not like just like Kendrick, because of course some people say, well, we don't want to be all up in that social conscious stuff. We just want to have a good time. But for real, back in the day, hip hop, we could still vibe out, jam out to some really good songs, and they still would be like, dang. I mean, like, come on now. It just was so good. I think about Tupac, and he could go from Dear Mama to um California. I think it's a California knows how to party. So yeah, I really liked his interview. So here's another part from
critics.
Ebro.
You know what I mean? And then it was for the critics,
Yeah.
and then GNX comes along, and it's like, nah. This album for anybody, everybody, and anybody who want it at any time. And you brought that energy, and if and the energy you brought on GNX was an energy that I don't think was really happening in hip hop. Like it's a Public Enemy level energy. It's
Yep,
a Ice Cube America's Most Wanted energy.
absolutely.
It's a classic, timeless energy. Um, talk about your headspace between Mr. Morale and this GNX.
Yeah. No, that's
So I really love what Ebro said, because I guess that's what I was kind of trying to say, is that back in the day there was like this hunger to make sure that rappers were making sure that they solidified their spot, right? And it wasn't on this gimmicky, let me just throw this at the wall and see what sticks. Like they were true to their craft. And even with Ice Cube, NWA, like he said, Public Enemy. And I really do believe that you do hear that in the GNX album. So if you guys listen to the GNX album, go ahead and, comment, rate it 1 to 5. One being he could have kept that mess, or five, like, this is iconic. This is one of those albums that's always going to, that's going to get played. Let's go ahead, and share up a little about, your thoughts on the album. And if he performed any songs off the GNX album, which one would you like for him to perform? So he goes into kind of explaining like his approach to this album. One of the things that I really think that Kendrick does is like, I feel like his mind is already always processing stuff. Let's be very clear. He is a Pulitzer Prize winner. Come on now. Let's just stop playing. He is awarded. Okay. And I just feel like sometimes when he raps stuff, even during the whole battle with the other dude, it's just like I think he was laughing the majority of the time. Like, man, look, let me just, he said, should I bleed him? I'm really like, Kendrick just be going in, you know what I'm saying? And I just like, instead of pushing P, want pushing P. Let me see you push a T. You know what I'm saying? Like, GNX is that album. Kendrick is that artist. I've listened to Kendrick Lamar before, of course, but I just feel like this was the album to me that solidified. Well, I won't say solidified him because he's got an amazing catalog of work. I think that this was the album that let him that he wanted to make sure that people knew. Oh, don't get it twisted. I can play with it. I can play with the. I am the goat. When I said I am the big me, F the big three, it's just big me. Like he meant that. Like y'all got this twisted. What is it? The braids? Like what? So I really really love that.
And you as a songwriter, when you see your name up there and it's written by Kendrick, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's powerful. And I think to what you're saying, I think there's a lot of people who have become fans of hip hop, and they, you like the songs you hear and know, but you're not actually tapped into the work that it takes for
Yeah.
you to generate
Yeah.
the output, the art.
Exactly, man. As a writer, and that's what I can appreciate the most. And knowing how much time I dedicated over the years and just trial and error, writing the most terrible shit to some of the greatest shit. We all do it, from writer's block to figuring out how to find inspiration from the most non-popular aspects around me. So it's like knowing that trial and knowing what I put in as far as my thinking process and what it takes to get there. I do not look at it as a small like endeavor because it's a hit record. No, it's actually some writing in that shit. Whether it connect with you on a spiritual level, whether it connect with you on a comedic level, whether it connect with you just on a personal dynamic, it's still from a writer's point of view.
Yeah, you are.
So just to wrap it up, because I don't want to play the whole thing, I think that first of all, the audience was so freaking quiet. And I feel like when an audience is that quiet, it means that they want to absorb everything that the person who's speaking is saying. Like they are listening, right? They took questions from the audience. It was so good to see younger people in the audience asking him some really, really good questions. I could tell that that really was like it made him, I think, I don't know how to say it. Okay, so I think that he felt some sense of accomplishment in the fact that he saw these younger people standing up, asking him questions, which then I think let him know, okay, they are listening to my music. My music is resonating with the younger crowd. And not to say that it doesn't, but sometimes people are like, oh, he goes so deep and we don't want to listen to all that. No, these kids are listening and they are learning and they really, the young folks who ask the questions, that was dope. He also goes into discussing, him and SZA and watching SZA, move up or grow in the music industry and just what that looks like and where they are right now, getting ready to go on the Grand National Tour together. He talks about that. They asked him what we can expect from the Super Bowl performance, and he said storytelling. And if you know anything about Kendrick, Kendrick gives his all in performances. It is absolutely where you need to be paying attention to the whole performance as well as the lyrics. Like he is such an amazing storyteller. He cares about this our community, and I think that it would be unfair to say there are times when people say, "Well, what about this lyric where he said this or he called this girl this or this chick this or refers to women this?" And I think that that's just a part of the growth as an artist, and I think it's also too saying, look, he's still in his environment. So, not to say, he can say that, nah. But at the same time, I feel like overall his body of work is doing a lot of good to the culture, for the culture. And if people really listen, they can really shift the culture by even embodying just one piece of advice or one piece from a song. And lastly, what I'll say is that I love the way that he explained how he how he writes. Like he's like, I first have a story. And he's like, then I figure out how to deliver that story where it resonates with you, which you just heard. And he goes on to say, because he's speaking for people who can't speak in the same way, right? So this, he's like, there are guys who are big, you know what I'm saying? And they got that pull, in the community. But then when you sit to try to just communicate with them, they can't do that. And so he feels like he has the talent where he can actually speak, not in essence for them, but he can actually say the things that maybe they can't say in the way that he does. And I think that that does definitely show up in Reincarnated. And the way that he wrote that is just crazy, right? So I'm definitely looking forward to the performance. I've said I will not watch it live during the Super Bowl because I don't want to give them that view. So I'm just going to shut the world out and then I'll watch it on YouTube or somewhere else, But I definitely do want to consume his Super Bowl performance, halftime performance. It's 13 minutes. I'm pretty sure we're going to see SZA. Um, I'm interested to see. I'm just interested to see. Lil Wayne says that he's going to be out of town, but out of the country actually. I'm interested to see what that's going to look like. I think that it's very interesting too, not to take away from this interview and Kendrick's moment, but I think it's interesting that now Drake has decided to drop a solo album, as well as Lil Wayne just announced that he's going to be dropping the Carter 6, I think it is, for in June. So, you know, I would love to see Wayne. I just don't know if I really want. Okay, I'm not going to go there. But this is the Apple Music interview, halftime interview with Kendrick Lamar before he performs this Sunday at the Super Bowl in New Orleans, Louisiana. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure that you comment below with your favorite album song from the GNX album or your favorite album from Kendrick so far, and let me know which song off of the GNX album or which song out of his catalog of work do you want to see him and hear him perform this Sunday. All right, guys, until next time, make sure you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to Welcome to the Room, where we talk about everything from social stuff to reality TV to political commentary, because at the end of the day, it moves our culture forward or backward. We have to decide which way do we want to move. God bless.